from ESPN, making his maiden voyage here on the Rich Eisen Show, Josh Pate, ESPN college football analyst galore. Good to see you, Josh. How are you?
Good to see you guys. I feel strangely, almost suspiciously at home.
Yes, you should, Chris. Here. You get that's Chris Brockman right there.
Yep.
There you go. Jason Feller took off his hat just to being involved in this this moment.
This is my welcoming.
Hey, good for you. There you go. There's TJ. You want to say hello to Josh Pate?
Josh, sorry, I can't.
Oh gosh, let's go.
I understand. We were all there. For me, it was third grade, but yeah, we've all been there one time.
Good to see you, Josh. Pleasure to have you on here right now. We were just talking about the ticket prices of and the ability to get tickets to the national championship. Are people even hitting you up to say what's up for this?
Oh yeah,
it's pretty cool.
By the way,
yes, sir.
I was at the semifinal game. Mm-hmm. I was talking to some of the Miami dignitaries and what have you. And their big conundrum that they already saw on the horizon was not just the ticket situation. Every other play in a Miami game, you get a shot of the play, and then you get a shot of Michael Irvin. Now Ray Lewis been on the sideline.
Yep.
And so every other former player is out there watching that, okay? Mm-hmm. So every other former player has it in their mind that, wait a second, national championship game. In our building, certainly we have unlimited sideline passes. Certainly I could just get myself down there. And they were already preparing different methodology to break the news that no, in fact, we do not control who's on the sideline. No, this is not like if we're playing FIU in week 3. We can't just flood the sideline. It's not like a homecoming down here. So it is a tough time. It's this tight little situation they have themselves down in there right now.
So we're going to see who's in the atop the pecking order of the U here, right? I mean, do you have to have a gold jacket? That's what Irv would say. I'm sure Ed Reed would say that. Irv, obviously Edgerrin James, Andre Johnson, Ray, right? Sat. These guys probably have to be up here.
It's got to start somewhere.
Then of course there's the Clinton Portis contingent who could say, who else was Uncle Spanky Janky? You know what I mean? From back in the day.
Sheriff going to get him? Coach Spanky Janky.
Josh, this is the intrigue. This is the grist for the mill we appreciate very much.
This is why I think you pull up at some point in the game, you just pull up the spider cam and you don't even focus on the game so much, but you focus on who made the cut, like who got down there, whose feelings are hurt, who's permanently got friction with their own university because we thought it was a cane sting and no one else understands. And it turns out we did not understand ourselves. And then the college football playoff the whole time is really the bad guy.
Of course, this could all be a Curt Cignetti palooza at the end of the day. Josh, can you explain to me why Indiana has been able to do what it has done so quickly with Curt Cignetti and how the current landscape of college football might have leveled the playing field for this to happen?
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of people doing that whole, how good is this team relative to 2020 Alabama, 2019 LSU? People always do that. Right. I never like doing that. But if you look at those teams, those sorts of teams don't exist anymore. The teams that are knee deep in future NFL talent, you go to practice and the 2s and in some cases the 3s are going to end up being first and second round draft picks a couple years down the road. No one's roster looks like that anymore. And as a result, when you add in the factor of injury throughout the year, when it comes to the big time programs, the tops of the tallest trees, Rich, just don't look like they used to. They're not as insurmountable as they used to be. So then you got that, the elite teams aren't quite as elite. And then you got this other concept of this guy coming in from James Madison, importing some 22, 23, 24-year-old guys with him, bringing his coaching staff. He's got an environment that guys want to stick around in. And everybody's searching for the secret formula, secret ingredients. And he keeps telling people, and people don't believe it because they think it's got to be more complicated than just defining your process, and then people yawn. And then, it's got to adhere to the process. He's really, really good at player evals. Saban had him doing it once upon a time at Alabama. So he's really good at evaluating. They're obviously really good at developing, but it's just a bunch of old guys who know how to play football really good against teams that in the aggregate aren't as elite as teams would have been 5 years ago at this stage in the playoff.
Well, what about the fact that their average age mirrors a National Football League team that's on the younger scale, and that there's grown-ass men with, extra eligibility due to what? I guess we're on the back end of the COVID year even still for some.
Yeah.
The transfer portal and things of that nature that they Also now have got the money for the portal, thanks to Mark Cuban and others. And what about that? That they're coming in as a highly experienced team, and obviously the Canes winning this game with somebody like Malachi Toney would be sort of the antidote in a way for that. It's just an interesting aspect of the Indiana Hoosiers that is an outlier as well, right, Josh?
Yeah. But if you also think about who would be theoretically throwing Malachi Toney the ball, he's a seventh-year guy.
That's right.
Carson Beck, I saw a headline the other day that when Carson Beck committed to Georgia, Toney was 11. I think he was 10 or 11 years old. So,
Josh, we had 2 wild card weekend starters in the National Football League who were in the same class as Carson Beck being recruited in Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
When they made the eligibility rule post-COVID the way it was, you could look out over the horizon. None of us obviously knew to pinpoint Indiana, but you could look out over the horizon and you knew for the next half decade you were going to be dealing with the after effects of that. And you were going to have some 23, 24, 25-year-old guys in some cases playing college football. And then it's going to move past, like, I don't want to get way in the weeds here, but now you're starting to look at these conventions like the coaches convention that just happened in Charlotte. One of the big topics of conversation was redshirt rules, because one of the sicknesses in college football right now is they got a 4-game where you could play and still redshirt if you don't play more than 4 games. Well, you understand the intent of that rule, but people had started to abuse it. Guys play 4 games, feel themselves out, and then they just say, I'm done for the year. Not a coach's decision, a player's decision. And so the coaches are looking at it saying, can we just have 5 years for guys to play 4 and just be done with it, not worry about this? And then the lawyer said, that may run afoul in the courtroom. So then they arrive at this ridiculous conclusion yesterday, which is, all right, instead of 4 games, let's make it 9 games you can play.
That's nuts.
And still redshirt. No one knows. I have no idea. My hands have been up for 24 hours. I have no idea where they're going with that. I also was just on the phone with someone before I came on your show, and I finally asked the question maybe not enough people are asking. Hey, everyone says legally this won't hold up. Does anyone actually have evidence of that? Like, does anyone really know the legal ramifications if you just institute changes to the red shirt rule? Or does one person just say it and it echoes throughout the college football halls because most of us don't have legal degrees?
Well, I can answer that question for you, Josh. It's our colleague and fellow, Bald Brotherhood individuals and Jay Billis. Jay probably would know the answer to that in 2 seconds flat. And that just puts in my mind's eye, I gotta have him on the program as well, in short order. Josh Pate here on the Rich Eisen Show. How many kids are in the portal? Do we know that?
Okay. All right. I did the research during the break.
Okay.
So in all of college football, all levels, we got over 10,000 right now. So we could sell out most home basketball arenas easily with the amount of players who are in the portal. Just FBS right now, we have 3,824 players in the portal, and it closes in like 2 days.
So what happens to the kids who don't move? Do they just go back and just go to their coaches and say, sorry, my bad, can I come back? Or it's
You
over?
can attempt it. You can attempt that. In a lot of cases, it's just over. I've watched this happen every cycle. Like, guys just disappear. They have no idea when they enter the portal that they just ended their college football career until the door closes in their face and they've got nowhere to land, and it's over. Their college career is just over. And look, I understand that everyone in this equation is over 18 years old and they're being paid money now. So like, everyone wants to treat them like 40-year-old adults. I understand the sentiment there. I have not crossed that Rubicon mentally myself to where I look at a college football player no different than I do an NFL player. Like, there's still a part of me in my mind that thinks those are still kind of sort of kids. And I still kind of sort of think it's garbage that the entire representation / agency model, or lack thereof, is in college athletics what it is. Because to become an accredited agent in college football, all you got to do is go to your Twitter bio and put agent in it. That's it. There is no other process, not like the NFL. And you can give the worst, most horrific advice possible, and you can leverage the system. I mean, in a lot of cases, Rich, especially this past cycle, I've been made aware of programs just passing cash to the agent to keep information from the player they represent when it comes to other offers on the table. Now, you may think to yourself, that's crooked. That should be illegal. Yes, in a sane world, it would be crooked. Well, it's crooked no matter what. Yes, in a sane world, it would be legal. That would never happen in the NFL because you have guardrails. We don't have that here. So it's just a bunch of uncles and a bunch of cousins and a bunch of dudes who call themselves agents who have given advice to every player. Go in the portal, man. At worst, you'll just be able to go back to where you were. And in some cases, that happens. In other cases, once you go in the portal, I'm your head coach, I'm your GM, I'm looking and saying, no, you said goodbye to us. You're not coming back here just because you didn't find a better offer, just because you didn't find a better landing spot. And if you tell me that you got bad advice, we tried to warn you. So we're moving on without you.
How is this good for the kids? I mean,
It's not.
If it hits, if you hit and you're getting $5 million to play quarterback somewhere, or you're getting $3 million to play running back somewhere, I guess so. And I understand. I want the players to get their taste because they're the ones who are serving up the full course menu in terms of revenue to the conferences and to the coaches and to everyone else. So I understand that they're getting a taste, but if this is the way they can get their taste and thousands of them wind up now wondering what the hell just hit them, that's not good either. That's terrible, as a matter of fact. So who are the adults in the room here to fix this? Because no one can really like this. No one wants to have a situation where they have to recruit their own team every year, and it happens just in the middle of the college football playoffs because people are scheduling this thing in the worst possible way. No one can like this, Josh. So who are the adults here to step in and do something?
You got one group of people who like it. I just described them, just jackals masquerading as agents. That's it. That is the only group of people that this current system serves. It does not serve the players. You had Greg Sankey on this show a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, sir.
Greg's really good. Like, I saw him a couple of days later at the A&M game. I told him, you are really good at when someone presents the problem, reminding them, you just started on chapter 3 of the book. Let me tell you what chapter 1 and chapter 2 includes.
Yeah.
And I think people should go back and listen to it, because I thought he articulated the current state of affairs on your show about as well as anyone has. And so it's like, it's not that he's stupid or that he's blind to the issues. He's just trying to say, hey, there are layers and layers and layers of nuance to this. But you asked me who the adults have to be in the room. Ultimately, it's going to be the conference commissioners. I really think that's the case. And I think, like, Ross Dellinger, for example, just did good reporting on this in the last 24 hours when he talked about, more so than ever right now, college football administrators, college football leaders, that just means presidents, ADs, coaches, et cetera. They are looking and they're saying, if we're not going to get help from the NCAA, if it looks like it's a failed attempt to get antitrust exemption from Congress where we can enforce our own rules, well, then it looks like the conferences have no recourse but to take matters into their own hands. Now, full disclosure, I've always thought that was the direction the funnel was ultimately headed, unless Congress did something. Here's the question. When the rubber meets the road on that, what's possible? And does that include the necessity to break away from the NCAA? Because that's sort of been the unicorn that people whisper about. But I think over the past year, that's become a little more tangible. Like, the Jell-O's been put in the fridge. I think it's congealing a little bit more, whereas it just used to slosh around the bowl in the past.
Josh Pate here on the Rich Eisen Show. What happened in Oregon with their quarterbacks? What's this now going to shake out now that Dante Moore went on ESPN and said, I'm staying, day after Dylan Raiola says I'm coming? What is this? What's happening?
Yeah, I just think it's Dylan looking at the situation and saying, Dante Moore once upon a time went to Oregon knowing Dylan Gabriel was there, and he committed there anyway. And he was happy sitting behind a guy for a year and marinating in a new system because he thought it would serve his best interest. And lo and behold, now Dante Moore's been the starting quarterback at Oregon, and he's shined. And so Dylan Raiola's looking at that saying, I'm leaving Nebraska. I want to go to Oregon. Now, scenario A, Dante Moore goes to the draft. I'm the starting quarterback up there. Scenario B, I'm okay with too. And that is what happened, which is Dante Moore comes back. Worst of worst case, I sit behind him for a year. Maybe it ends up being the best thing that's ever happened to me because, I mean, you watched him. You watched Dylan Raiola just like I did and the rest of America did this year. You saw flashes. You saw glimpses. You didn't see anything close to a finished product. You didn't see anything close to consistency wire to wire like you would need from a top flight quarterback, a guy that's going to be a playoff caliber guy, a guy that's being mentioned one day in mock drafts in his own right. So I think he went up there. And then you saw the announcement happen, and those announcements now, you give all the credit in the world to Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson had a mega offer on the table from Miami the other day. And you're talking about north of $6 million to come back and play another year of college football, as opposed to going and testing the NFL draft waters. It's not nearly the feast or famine proposition that it used to be when you're deciding, do I go to the draft? Or do I come back and risk injury and leave myself totally broke and my family's future ruined? You're getting tons and tons and tons of money, just like Dante Moore just did, to come back to school for one more year. So it's probably right for his development. It also makes the pockets a lot deeper in the process.
So then I guess in the end, at the end of the day, where does the rich alumni base that now out in the open can give money to players rank in terms of the most important aspect of building a winning program in college football? Where does it rank with who's the head coach? Where does it rank with best recruiting class coming out of high school, facilities, school? Where does it rank? Is it number one now?
I think it's number two.
Okay.
I would make it number two. A lot of people are going to argue number one. To those folks, I would direct their attention to several mega payroll teams that were sitting at home for the playoffs. And I would ask them if that's the most important factor. Obviously, you could throw Indiana in their face, but you could also say, like, what about these big spending teams that sat at home? Obviously, it takes a little more than just having a bunch of cash and acquiring these commodities and toss them all together. I thought that's what was so impressive about Texas Tech this year. Texas Tech spent a ton of money. They were never shy about admitting that. But from day one, just the team dynamic, like the mortar between the bricks, in other words, that it normally takes a lot of time to put in place was there. That's the key. Like, it's not, can I go buy the best seeds? It's, what kind of garden am I tossing these seeds in? Yeah, I want to toss the highest price seeds in there. But am I tossing them in topsoil or am I tossing them in gravel? Because a lot of folks out there just trying to toss the seeds in gravel and thinking, well, we paid enough money, just voila, it'll happen. It's no different than when you go pay a coach a whole lot of money and you think that circumvents you around the process that it takes for that coach to develop. Like at Oregon right now, Dan gets paid a ton of money, and yet they're still coming up in the playoffs and they're getting blown out a couple of times. Well, he's 39 years old. So you can either look at that and say, yeah, but he gets paid a ton of money, so he can't be losing like that. Or you can look at it and say, it doesn't matter if you pay him 10 million or 10 billion. You don't just get to pop coaches in the microwave and speed up development, just like with teams. You don't get to spend your way around the non-negotiables that it takes to win as a team. And that's why, like, with Indiana right now, no one's really going to pull off duplicating the Indiana blueprint because it's a kind of unique situation. But if people want to chase that model, I will relish in all these big spending programs chasing how to cultivate that kind of dynamic in their building. Because those are the sorts of things that I would love college football programs to be chasing instead of what many of them are chasing.
Well, is it fair to say Indiana just used the right amount of money on the right players with the right system and the right coach and got the right kid in Mendoza from Cal at the right time and it's a lightning strike? Or is this something that with the finances that Indiana has, they could just keep repeating over and over and over again, as long as they have the right guy at the top and Cignetti and his staff identifying that kid there is perfect for our system, and we don't have to spend as much money on that kid because he's not a 5-star. He's not coming from a program that just won 12 games or anything like that, right? I mean, is that it? Is that it?
I think the skill is in putting yourself in position to compete for the title every year. And then there's a little bit of luck that goes into it. But to answer your question, yes, I think Curt Cignetti will have them in that picture every year. I'm firmly convinced of that.
Me too.
And I think,
Me too.
Think about this though. Okay, so two sides to this coin. When we were down in Atlanta last week, when they were playing Oregon, I think the entire state went down there, totally took over Atlanta. And they kept on saying, man, think about this. Like our story this year is great, but this will be the least talented team that Curt Cignetti ever has. And I'll grant you that's probably true. Like they're getting attention from a lot of guys that they never would have gotten attention from before. But I want to caution people. I don't think you'll ever have a better team in the purest sense of what a team is.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll ever have a better team anywhere than Indiana and Curt Cignetti were able to have this year. Because with all the talent that comes in, there are just different consequences to that. I remember listening to Saban when he was first at Alabama, those first couple of years, they get that first round of recruits through and they go up against Tebow and Urban Meyer and they fall just short one year. Then they beat him and they win the title the next year. And people were saying, man, and now imagine how much more talented Alabama's going to be under Saban. They did go on to put many more talented teams than those early teams on the field. But if you listen to him talk about his time at Alabama, he always talks about the dynamics of that first team and how he was never really fully able to replicate that. So that's a catch-22. But then on the other side of it, Rich, they are going to be there because they are not a have-not. One of the big misnomers about Indiana is they're a have-not. They are not a have-not. They are a has-not. The trophy case is barren,
Nice.
so they have not done anything, but they are not a have-not. So as much as Ohio State or Michigan or Penn State are able to have juice in the talent acquisition space, Indiana, from this point moving forward, is able to stand shoulder to shoulder with them.
I love it. Josh, great first chat on this program. I already look forward to the next one. And everyone check out Josh Pate's College Football Show on YouTube and, of course, everything else he does with ESPN and everything else he does outside of that. Great to see you. Appreciate the time, brother.
I don't know how much you shy away from people saying they grew up watching you, but you know I did, and so I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot.
And I appreciate you saying that, Josh. Let's chat some more. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.